Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and the glue that holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off another episode. So we're continuing the current trend of 2018 previews, and this week we're shifting our attention to Microsoft and the Xbox One. Like Nintendo's episode last week, we're going to be looking at the game through a few different lenses. Where are they? Where are they going to go? How are they going to get there? What games and announcements we're looking for? And then we close it out with kind of a pie in the sky sort of prediction or a little bit of extra added opinion from me. So without further ado, let's kick this one off. Let's first take a look at where Microsoft was in 2017. So their first big AAA release for the year was Halo Wars 2, one that wasn't received perhaps as well as what they had expected, and certainly doesn't compare to what we've previously seen in past Halo games, be them Halo Wars or Halo games. They then had the big blockbuster at the end of the year that was Forza Motorsport 7, and that too was received well, just as we've come to expect from that franchise. It was one of the big linchpins to support the Xbox One X, which also released last year. And then we saw 36 million unit sales in total, roughly, approximately. Microsoft doesn't divulge their numbers, it's anecdotal. And the decision to make original Xbox games available via backwards compatibility to go alongside what they were already doing with the 360, meaning that every single Xbox generation is available to be played, provided Microsoft or the third party or whoever it is supports it, is available to be played on your Xbox One. It is a fantastic initiative, one that is really gamer-centric, gamer-friendly, and has earned a lot of goodwill over the course of 2017.
From inside, reckless rage and poison pride. I know the weakness, I know the pain, I know the fear we do not name, and the one who comes to find me when my time is through. I know you, yeah, I know you.
As we move deeper into 2018 though, there are only two big things that Microsoft need to be looking at going forward this year. That is one, adding to their AAA exclusive catalogue, and two, making the Game Pass initiative a more attractive prospect to the gamer and other publishers out in the wild.
The Sea of Thieves beta is nearly here, but there's still time to make sure you get a place out on the waves. So what have you got to do to make sure you don't miss out? One of the hundreds of thousands to have played in the technical alpha? You're in. Pre-ordered the game? You're in. Sat back thinking about treasure all day? You're not in. Sorry. But there's still time. Pre-order Sea of Thieves now to get access to the closed beta and join the Gold Hoarders Trading Company in the search for buried treasure.
How they're going to get there, however, is the important bit. Now, when it comes to those AAA exclusive games, we already know there's a few on the way in the form of Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, and State of Decay 2. We know that Ori and the Will of the Wisps is coming. We believe Below is still meant to be coming at some point. But Microsoft got on the front foot last year and said we need to actively go out and pursue AAA developers, bring them into the fold, whether that is as a first party or a second or third party exclusive title, and get that available for gamers to enjoy. You only have to take a look at what PlayStation is doing and the number of exclusive games that are coming this year alone, and that ignores 2017, 2016 as most recent examples, to see that Microsoft is getting hammered by PlayStation in the exclusive game department, and it's something they acknowledge they need to rectify and have started to make moves to do so. They also need to make sure they're convincing third-party publishers to climb aboard with what Microsoft has recently been doing with Game Pass. In the last week, Game Pass has been fleshed out to look very much like what we come to expect from a Netflix model. When it comes to Netflix, you get a whole bunch of older shows and Netflix's own original content exclusive on that platform. Now, until this week, all we'd gotten was older content on Game Pass. And that could be older first and third party titles as well as some indie stuff. But what Microsoft has done this past week has announced that new and exclusive games from this point on, so that will include the AAA games that we've already spoken about in Crackdown, Sea of Thieves and State of Decay, as well as any others down the track, will be available day and date via the Game Pass platform. And that means that if you pay, in Australian dollars, your $12 a month to get access to Game Pass, you get those games completely free. Now, if you think about the dollars, and we're going to use this in Australian dollar values here, $144 is what it's going to cost you for Game Pass subscription for the entire year. If you're interested in any of those two of those three exclusives, be it State of Decay and Sea of Thieves, or Sea of Thieves and Crackdown, whatever, you're already making money back on the purchases that you've not had to make. Those two games are probably going to cost you close to between 160 and 200 Australian dollars combined, but you're only paying 144 for your Game Pass subscription, plus you get all those other games along the way. It's a fantastic value proposition, and that doesn't even factor in that there's probably going to be more exclusive games that will be announced and that will release through the course of 2018. Microsoft has done an amazing thing with this initiative, and what they now need to do is try and convince third-party publishers to join in the fun and games. Explain to them how it will be financially viable to them and how it will continue to further the push towards a digital-only future.
Play new exclusive Xbox One games when they launch with Xbox Game Pass.
Now, I've already spoken about the 5 games that I'm expecting to come out this year. That is State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, which is coming out in March, Crackdown 3, and then Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and hopefully Cappy's Below, a game that's been in development since before the original Xbox One version even came out. So it's been a long time coming, and it sounds like every indication coming out of the studio is they're now in the final stretch and the game's on track for this year. But what we want to look at are some other announcements that could be made. Now, I'm expecting that we'll hear from a new Forza game, possibly Forza Horizon 4, but even that is an interesting dynamic there because Playground, the studio responsible for the Forza Horizon franchise, is now splitting into 2 different studios. One of them will be the Horizon team, and one of them is a team going off in another direction, working on action RPGs from the sounds of it. And that fits in line, and given they're a UK developer, fits in line with the recent news that the Fable franchise, a former Lionhead property before Lionhead was shuttered, is coming back in the form of Fable 4 or a Fable reboot, but a core Fable game. They've been linked to that game. Will we see an announcement this year? Probably not, but will we hear some confirmation that they're working on the game? There's reason to hope that's the case. On top of that, you can probably hope to expect to hear from Gears of War 5, Halo 6, and maybe maybe one of those 2 will come out this year. There's also been some rumours about a Perfect Dark reboot. We saw Perfect Dark, it was originally a Nintendo 64 game, and it was a heralded, acclaimed game, one that I loved from the Nintendo 64 days. When Rare moved over to Microsoft and released Perfect Dark Zero on the Xbox 360 as a launch title, the shine was taken off the franchise a little bit. It wasn't such a great game. But it does sound like, from some rumours that have been circulating of late, that Microsoft is looking to bring that franchise back. Will it be Rare working on it? No, of course not. They're busy working on Sea of Thieves. But if they get the right studio and get the right deal going, it's a very viable option going forward. And as we wrap things up, here's what I want from Xbox in 2018. Firstly, I really would love to see this Game Pass initiative, which until this week didn't have my interest at all, and now I'm real keen. I think I might have to throw my money at it. I want to see Microsoft do what they can to rope in maybe indies or third-party publishers, get them aboard, make this a platform that then prompts PlayStation and Nintendo to consider doing the same. That digital-only future is not that far away as the NBN rolls out through Australia and other countries around the world get more sophisticated internet connections that are reaching more parts of their respective countries. The digital-only future is not that far away, and Microsoft's really getting out in front of it and having a system, a marketplace in place ready to go for that day. Prompt Microsoft, prompt Sony, prompt Nintendo to flesh out these platforms and make them viable for all of us. The next thing for me is I need to see a release of Ori and the Will of the Wisps this year. Ori and the Blind Forest, the original game that came out a few years ago, is my favourite game on the Xbox One platform. Xbox One or Xbox One X. It is an amazing game that if you've not experienced, please make sure to do so. But it has a sequel coming. We spoke about it before, and I need to see that game in 2018. Even talking about it, I can feel the heartstrings being tugged on a little bit, because it is one of those games that's really grabbed me by the emotional strings and tugged hard. I'm expecting the sequel to do the same, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. We need to see some new AAA IP, exclusive IP from Microsoft, and that's hopefully what's happening with this buying spree that's apparently going on, getting these AAA studios on board. Here's hoping we see some product of that this year. Maybe not a release, but some announcements. And finally, in terms of one big game announcement that I would love to see more than any other, I want to see a new Banjo-Kazooie game. Not nuts and bolts. I want to see Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie 3D platformer style action. Will Rare develop it? No. Again, we spoke about that before. They're busy with Sea of Thieves and the post-release support of that. But there are so many independent studios out there that have proven their worth in the 3D platformer space in recent years. Enlist one of them. Give them the IP, make something happen. Banjo is an adored mascot. And as we see PlayStation and Nintendo really leaning heavily into those 3D platformers, something that kind of disappeared a little bit over recent years, Microsoft needs someone, and Banjo is the prime candidate, to be that family-friendly face. There's your opportunity. Let's make it happen, please. And so that concludes another episode of The Insider for another week. If you've enjoyed it, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing to the channel. All those buttons are down below. And that'll allow you access to weekly episodes of Patched, the Video Games Club, The Insider, there's Player 2 Plays, and a whole bunch more, all stuff that can only be found at our YouTube channel, so please subscribe and check it out, especially in these dark days of YouTube for smaller YouTube channels. If you like written content, please visit the website player2.net.au where you can catch up with reviews, previews, opinion pieces, there's news, features, the Player 2 Writer's Draft, and a whole bunch more, all that can be found only at our website and is contributed to by some of the best talent in Australia. So please, please check it out. For rolling updates, hit up the website at Player2AU on Twitter. Myself, you can catch me at PaulJamesP2. And until next week, where we tackle Sony, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.